Is today under the Dome of the Rock, and when the Muslims occupied the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, the remains of the temple still existed, including the western real wall of the temple itself, and they could see where is located the Holy of Holies and the temple. And then later, 10 years later, they removed all the remains and built the Dome of the Rock and the mosque. No, the Dome of the Spirit is no, it's not the place of the temple, no, cannot be built there.
One more question is, what do you think of Benjamin Netanyahu?
About Netanyahu?
Mm-hmm.
What can I tell you? Can I speak about my Prime Minister? Yes. He's not the right man of God. I'm so sorry to say it. We expected from him so much. He went to Washington, D.C. and met President Obama, and he obeyed to everything that he told him. This is not what God is expecting from a Prime Minister of Israel. You know, instead of to say to Obama, number one, you want me to meet me? You come to Jerusalem and not I to Washington, D.C. You will have an honor to come to the city of God. And number two, to tell him, no, no, no. You are not the President of Israel. The President of Israel is the God of Israel. And we don't listen to you.
Thank you so much for coming. My question is, in your heart, what is the earliest date that you can imagine that you could complete your mission of building this third temple? What has God spoken to you? When is the earliest you can imagine that you could complete your mission?
Okay.
From God?
Yes. I apologize. I did not hear good. Maybe it is my bad English. When what God put in my heart, the temple should be built? Yesterday. You know, 1967, it was the moment, it was the day, it was God's timing. Everything that happens in the history of the mankind, and especially Israel, is God's work. He's leading the history of Israel. This war was a godly war. When God wanted to return Israel to the very land that He gave them, to the Temple Mount, to Jerusalem, He brought them to the Temple Mount to build His temple, to fulfill His word in Isaiah 2 and in Micah 4 and all over the Bible. And we missed it.
Why?
So even yesterday is too late. 42 years ago, but never late, because in heaven and on the ground we can hear Him saying, build me my house.
How long would it take?
Again?
How long would it take you
To build the temple?
If you have the land stuff.
Yeah, I believe not a long time. And sure that it should be built careful, you know, the eternal temple of God. But I believe it will not take more than 3 years, maybe.
Thank you.
Because we know today everything, how to build it, all the details. God gave it to us in the Torah. And besides, it was written in the Talmud, in the Mishnah. Those who still lived in the time of the temple, in the Mishnah, wrote all the details. We have the Masechet Midot in the Mishnah that gives all the details, even the smallest of them. So we know how to build it. Just we need the right leadership. So who will be the next Prime Minister of Israel? What is your idea? Who is going to be the next Prime Minister? Mashiach ben David. He's going to be the next Prime Minister of Israel, the next king.
In Zechariah 14, right here. In Zechariah 14, in your video, it mentioned about the Sukkot being a festival after there's great destruction, and that all the lands, the people in the lands that survive, come to Israel for Sukkot. Is that in the fall? Sukkot is in the fall? That festival?
Yes, the Feast of Tabernacles?
Right.
Sukkot.
It seems as though that before that festival there is a great destruction that takes place on the earth. Would that be kind of like a time frame?
Not a destruction, but again, judgment of God against the nations that will come against Jerusalem.
And that after that judgment, God is asking everyone in the world to come to Sukkot.
Yes.
For
and to go to the mountain of the Lord. And then no more the Canaanite, as you say, will dwell on the holy mountain of the Lord.
Okay.
We have now 2 months to Sukkot. Let us pray.
Question about the red heifer. I heard that it was very, very, very rare. So I was wondering, how did you find it? Red heifer. How did that come about?
Now, this red heifer that you saw here on the movie is no more red heifer. And in the last 15 years, we have discovered more than one red heifer. The Israeli authorities are afraid from a red heifer, because then all the extreme Orthodox Jews can go on the Temple Mount, maybe 1 million of them, and the enemy is removed. So a red heifer they consider as a nuclear bomb that can explode the situation and bring a world war against Israel. This is again a stupid idea, you know. The red heifer is just a blessing and a sign from God that we are living in the right godly timing. So they rejected the red heifer, so the red heifer said, "You don't want me? I will no more be a red heifer." But in Mississippi, United States, there is a Christian preacher that has a ranch, and he raises red heifers. And he has few red heifers ready to be sacrificed. I mean, that passed all the laws. They remain red, completely red, 3 years. If after 3 years they are still completely red, they are ready to be sacrificed, they can be even transferred to Israel. But again, the same weakness.